Da-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's the super not funny. Ba-da-da, ba. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome again, all you Fleshbags and Fabricans, to the super
Not
funny show. I, of course, am your host, BelAir, and yes, that is French. And I'm joined by the lovely, the talented, the effervescent Jen Thepuppet. How you doing, babe?
Don't get their hopes too high.
Yeah, we're back for episode 2. We hope many more. So anyway, this is, of course, the super not funny show, and we are a show where we talk about pop culture, things that we like to watch, play, do, read, those things. And as we do every week, we sort of like to keep up with what's going on in all of the news and all of the goings on in Hollywood and entertainment, and even, comic books, etc. So we'll follow that up with our main segment, which this week is going to be something we call pilot season. And we'll explain what that is later. And then we'll round that out with our weekly distractions. And then, sadly, the show will be over. But hey, we got a little while until that goes on. So, Jen, first of all, how have you been doing this week? How's the week been treating you as far as all of this pop culture-y thing?
Honestly, I feel like it's been a quiet week.
Yeah, that's surprised the aftermath of all of that stuff last week. And I guess everyone's just getting back into the swing of things.
Right.
So, and there's so much going on as far as like what to watch and what to read and whatever. So, plenty to talk about, plenty to do. So, but same here. Just happy that the weekend has arrived, so we can do all this fun stuff. So, well, anyway, why don't we kick off the show properly with...
I'm sad about that.
Sad about what?
I never learned to kick.
You gotta have legs first. One day, our legs are gonna grow on. We're like tadpoles.
The forever tadpole.
Yeah. So, well, all you Fabricans Fleshbags, get ready for the new threads.
News thread.
All right. So, let's talk about all the goings on in the pop culture news, and as we call it, the new threads. So, Jen, I know you love this show. I know I love this show. I actually really like the comic, and I think you really like the comic too, right? Umbrella Academy. So,
Stormy.
Don't understand. I missed the reference. But
umbrellas.
I'm stupid.
You said it. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, so anyway, Umbrella Academy Season 3 has been greenlit from Netflix. So, I mean, we sort of thought that was a foregone conclusion, right? Sort of. But they just now renewed it. So, before I say anything about it, what do you think?
I'm ecstatic about it. I honestly wouldn't mind going through the first 2 seasons again before the third season comes out.
Right. Are you surprised at all by this announcement, or are you just surprised it took so long?
No, I figured it was going to be something that ran a little while because people were talking about it.
Right. Well, just based on the fact that it took months before Netflix said, this is official. It's weird, but yeah. It's somewhat related to the fact that Netflix has this, I guess, reputation of canceling things, like good things getting canceled. Like, I'm not okay with this. Other things like that were cool, but they canceled them like after 3 seasons. And so they're going to their 3rd season. And it should be noted that, there's only 3 volumes of the comic. So it kind of makes sense. Actually, if they cancel it after season 3, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm actually very excited about this. And not just because, hey, more Umbrella Academy, but also really because they really veered far away from the comic in season 2. So I really think that season 3 is going to be far afield from the 3rd volume of the comic. In a way, they're 2 separate stories. So I'm happy about this. So yeah, cool news. So in movie theater news, good news, bad news, or alright news. Good news, hey, Pfizer has come up with, they say, a 90% effective vaccine, and they speculate that they could have 20 million doses out by the end of the year. So, the light at the end of the tunnel is there. That's a good news. And in fact, stock in all the movie theaters went up because of this news. However, that doesn't mean they're out of the they're not out of the rough water yet, because there is speculation that at least DC has been, or Warner Brothers has been shopping around the idea of a 2-week release in theaters for Wonder Woman 84, then to VOD. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about last week, which was the Cinemark talking about possibly giving certain movies the okay to release on VOD before the theatrical window was up. And so that's kind of a big deal right now. It's such a big deal right now that the theaters are having these problems that all the chains, but in particular AMC, is talking about renting out, whole theaters to people. They're just trying to get some kind of money coming in the door to justify themselves. So, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing that Wonder Woman is possibly going to do a 2-week theatrical release followed by VOD, or going to HBO Max? What do you think?
If it's a good thing?
Is it good, bad? What does it help?
I think they're maybe trying to see what works
for
the future of movies.
Well, my question is, does it help them at all?
I don't think so.
Are the movie theaters going to gain anything by this sort of scheme?
I honestly don't see too many people crying about it.
Well, I am. I love the theaters.
Well, me too. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Right. But we are definitely going to see Wonder Woman in the theater, right?
Of course.
Of course. I was just double checking, making sure we're on the same page there. But yeah, it's because I know everyone's sort of leery about it now. But our experiences at the theater have been fairly good. Would you say?
Except for the cleanliness of the concession.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, there is that. We just don't get popcorn there, and that's in a way sort of ruining the experience, I guess. But beyond that, yeah, it's been pretty good so far. And I'm sort of pissed they didn't release a bunch of other movies, because we would have been there. But I see why, because they're afraid that they are going to lose their money. So, as always, poor theaters, and we are really pulling for you. I don't know, that Wonder Woman news is sort of a thing,
It's news.
Yeah. If it does come on HBO Max, I wonder if it entices anybody to sign up for HBO Max. Because remember, HBO Max is $17 a month, so it's not exactly cheap. So we shall see. We'll see. I suspect they won't do it though. But I could be wrong. I don't know shit. It's not like I'm in Hollywood. All right. Let's talk about something that we talked about again last week, but with a new wrinkle into it. So the whole Johnny Depp, Amber Heard Fantastic Beasts thing, right? So we know that Johnny Depp has left from being Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts movies, right? So they're floating the idea that, well, not the idea, but there are talks supposedly between the director of Fantastic Beasts, which is David Yates. And by the way, you know David Yates, he directed the last 3 or 4 Harry Potter movies. So that's why you would know him. Well, he has apparently gone into negotiations with Mads Mikkelsen, Hannibal Lecter himself. Hannibal Lecter himself from the Hannibal TV show. To be the new Grindelwald. So, what do you think about that?
I mean, I guess it'll be fine. I love Hannibal, so...
Right. Do you think that's a good fit?
I think so, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to bring something better or different that maybe Johnny Depp wouldn't?
I think, honestly, he'll be better than Johnny Depp. It's just, I really like Johnny Depp, too.
Right.
I think he fits more than Johnny Depp, though.
I would say there is a lot of crossover between his work as Hannibal and his work as Grindelwald. Beyond that, Mads Mikkelsen, when he shows up in other things, he elevates things. So I really believe that. Well, first of all, when I first heard it, I was like, hell yeah. Hell motherfucking yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for real though. It's pretty great. It's a great call. And I sort of be like, why didn't y'all pick him in the first damn place? But he's not a huge name, and he should be. If you don't know who Mads Mikkelsen is by name, that's unfortunate because you know his work. So, I think it's great news. I hope it happens. There have been some people who are sort of throwing cold water on that fire, but I'm just choosing to hope it's true. All right. So, something else that sort of came up in the last couple of days. Well, we know that, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman passed away from colon cancer. Was it a month ago? And so the speculation was, what are they going to do for Black Panther 2? Because they're definitely going to have Black Panther 2. Because it was a $1.2 billion movie. So there's no reason to not make another one. And he was supposed to be a big character in the MCU. So we just want to know what's going to happen going forward. Are they going to recast? Are they going to do a digital body double? What's going to happen? But it seems like one of the executive producers of many MCU movies has more or less confirmed no body doubles, no digital recreations like they did with Princess Leia in the Rise of Skywalker. They're not going to be doing that. And instead, it sounds like they are pushing for Letitia Wright, who played Shuri, to be pushed forward as the main character in the Black Panther.
Yeah, I've already seen an ad.
You've seen them talking about that, right?
I've seen possible
cover. Yeah, and that's fan renderings and whatever. But there's this idea, and it's not bad. It's not bad speculation because it's happened in the comics for Shuri to become the next Black Panther. I've read those comics. They're good. And so, hey, that sounds like a good idea to me. We need Black Panther to keep moving forward. So, does this honor his legacy? I just like that they're not going to do the digital recreation shit. That's a little creepy and weird. It's a little creepy and weird to me, to be honest. And I think that Letitia Wright, she seems like a good actress. She has a good character in Shuri, and there's just no reason to not have more movies. So, you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, it should be cool. I like the idea. A little bit more good news. You like the Fresh Prince, right? Fresh Prince of BelAir. I'm fucking up that whole thing, but okay. But Will Smith, one of the biggest stars in the world.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
But you guys know he started out, besides rapping in the 80s, he started out in acting on The Fresh Prince of BelAir back in the day. A great show.
Was that his first acting?
I do believe so. I think so. I could be wrong. But it was a big hit, ran for years. I think it's a bit of 90s nostalgia that everyone would look back to as a good thing. And so, just found out today, in fact, that next week, on the 19th, they are doing on HBO Max a Fresh Prince of BelAir reunion special. I don't think it's going to be a episode. Can't wait. It's not going to be an episode, but I think it's going to be one of those behind the scenes. We sit and talk. Yeah, and they're going to be on the set. I mean, the set, I actually saw like a little bit. I didn't watch the trailer, but I saw a little bit of it. And
sucks that Uncle Phil won't be there, though.
Yeah, rest in peace, James Avery. He died years ago, right?
Heart attack, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
He was overweight.
So, yeah, he's not going to be there, unfortunately. But the rest of the cast has come back, including Aunt Viv, number 1. And they're just going to sit and talk and kind of talk about it. Because it has been like over 20 years since it started.
Let's just change Aunt Viv's skin tone and not say anything about it.
Yeah. Well, we see that on many shows now. We saw that on the Goldberg several times. Hell, they do it on soap operas all the time. Like, did you know Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman played the same character on, I think it's Guiding Light. They Weird. Like literally, Chadwick Boseman got fired from the part, or let go, whatever you want to call it, and they picked up.
For what?
It was some small part in the show.
Why was he fired?
Oh, I didn't hear him tell it. He kind of didn't like the way they were portraying his character very stereotypically, and so he kind of asked for to give some input, and I guess they didn't like. Supposedly. We don't really know why, but we can guess. But Michael B. Jordan was the very next person to play that role. So it's not out of the ordinary. But I can tell you are pretty excited about it.
I am.
Yeah. It should be fun. I mean, we like these people.
We should have a fun meal.
Yeah. Something 90s.
What's a 90s dish? Big Macs.
What's what are they called? Bagel bites. Bagel bites and Hot Pockets. What else was
Down.
Yeah.
Meatballs with a jelly.
Yeah, that stuff. So, either way. So that's happening. We're going to check that out on the 19th. We'll let you guys know what we thought. Last bit of news. Hey, the news. Okay. We are fans of the MCU, yes. We're those crazy people that before Endgame, we watched every single one of the MCU movies just to make sure we knew what was up. Not like we hadn't seen them all before anyway. We rewatched them anyway because the MCU is rad. So, great news in the MCU this week. Chris Pratt is going to be in Thor, Love and Thunder.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. Now, you love the Guardians, right?
Love Guardians.
Love the Guardians. And I love the Thor movies. Particularly the Taika Waititi's.
Sounds inappropriate.
Yeah, that does sound inappropriate. Wow.
Taika Waititi's. Pardon me.
Wow. Culturally insensitive.
Super.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I really did like the third Thor movie. It was Thor Ragnarok. It was really great. It was really funny. There was a lot of good to it. And then we're bringing the whole crew back, plus Chris Pratt. And also the parts in Infinity War with the Guardians was pretty great. All the back and forth between the two Chris's was pretty great. So I'm damn excited about this. I don't care if he shows up for 5 minutes. I'm with it. The more the merrier. Am I right?
Amen.
So that sounds all very interesting. And of course, there were more things that went on this week. I just didn't care to talk about them. But hey, that doesn't mean you guys can't put us on the things. So, if you got some new threads you want us to talk about, just hit us up in the comments, or, send a direct message or whatever. How does this internet thing work?
What's the W?
You can actually, on the real, you can shoot us an email at supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. And and we will check out your news, and if it's cool enough, we will talk about it on the show. So, that's it for the news this week. All right, we're on to our main segment this week, and our main segment is pilot season. Pilot season. So normally pilot season is, if you follow TV, is a time of year when, well, they make pilots. In TV terms, it means a time when they're making shows that might get picked up, so they make the first episode, and it'll either be the first episode of a new series, or it'll just be a thing that never gets seen by anyone. So, our version of pilot season is a little different. There's so much TV on the landscape, so much time, so little time, so much to watch, and we've sort of found ourselves with nothing on the radar, so to speak, to watch. So, how do we find out what to watch? We're going to watch the first episode of a bunch of TV shows, and then whatever's the best one out of them is going to be our new show. So, that's the idea of pilot season. And every time we do a pilot season episode, that's the gist of it. Cool? Ooh. We all understand what's going on. Awesome.
Present.
So, we have a big plan, actually. What did I say? We're going to watch like 8 show pilots, and then we're going to pick one out of those, and we end up watching 3. So, ambitions, right? But they were good shows. So, let's talk about them. We're going to start off with, I guess we'll start off with the first one we tried, which was the new Twilight Zone. Now, you may not be familiar with the new Twilight Zone. I don't know. It's basically Jordan Peele's kind of like doing all sorts of cool stuff nowadays. And one of the things he wanted to do was a remake or I don't even want to call it a reboot. Just a revival of the Twilight Zone, which is a show that we both watched in syndication like when we were little, right? And then we even watched a little bit of it recently. So this is the same idea, which is a bunch of supernatural sci-fi weirdnesses and people going through some weird stuff. And as they say, the Twilight Zone. So we ended up watching the first episode, which was called The Comedian. So Jen, what did you think about episode 1 of The Twilight Zone, The Comedian, starring Kumail Nanjiani?
It hooked me.
Okay. It hooked you on the series, or just like...
No, I'm ready to watch more.
Right.
I like the way the story... I don't know, I'm ready to see what else they do.
Right.
It was very interesting.
Right. Now, and understanding this is a weird kind of pilot in the sense that Kumail Nanjiani is not going to be in the rest of the series. He and Tracy Morgan shows up. He's not going to be in it either. It's really a bunch of one-offs. It's kind of like, I guess you'd say, Black Mirror. And I know you like Black Mirror.
Love Black Mirror.
So it's like that. And Black Mirror, let's be honest, is the Twilight Zone with a lot of technology in it. It's more sci-fi than fantasy or anything. And the thing about this show is that the conceit is, hey, it could be fantasy, could be sci-fi, could be any of this stuff. So really what's going on is that, there's going to be it's an anthology, right? But, I personally, I was really darn good, even though I pretty well predicted the end of the story from probably about halfway through. I was like, okay, this is how this story's going to end. But it was very interesting. It's almost like the comedian was like, It's a Wonderful Life, but not quite. And I found some of the conceit of the story didn't make sense to me until about halfway through. But when it did, it was really interesting. I think the production value on this are high.
Yeah, great.
They're giving good money to make this show happen. I saw from some synopses of different stories that there are going to be a bunch of different actors that you sort of know, or that you really know, that are going to show up later on.
Oh, so excited.
Yeah, it's so this excited. Again, one-off episodes.
More today, babe, more.
Yeah, no. I think,
more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down with watching more as I really, really enjoyed it, actually. And if that's the general thrust of the show, I'm down with it some more. So I'd say, Twilight Zone, the new Twilight Zone, at least from the pilot, looks really great, and we want to continue on with that. So another show we watched this week for pilot season was something called Utopia. Now, Utopia
is not a drink.
Yeah, it's not Fruitopia. That's what you're thinking of. Did they even make that anymore?
I don't think so.
I
love the red one, the fruit punch.
It's just it was Kool-Aid. It's pretty much was just Kool-Aid.
So good.
But it's got 3% fruit juice, and I'm pretty sure that fruit juice was like
artificial.
Yeah. Utopia. It's a show on Amazon Prime. It's a Prime original, actually. I believe it's an 8-episode series. Rainn Wilson is in it. Some other people that you know. Actually, I wish I could say her name right now. Jessica Roth, I think is her name.
David Lee Roth?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, I don't think they're related. But Jessica Roth, she was the star of Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. And I was like, who is this? I know I've seen this woman before. And it took, thanks IMDb figuring it out. Oh, hey, Goose, again, thanks for coming and interrupting our show. We appreciate it. We need to get a Goose camera, apparently, because she just wants to be in on this. I love you.
She's coming up here probably just to tell she's out of food.
Yeah, probably. We should lock the door, except her litter box is in here. Anyway, so Jessica Roth is in this. There's other people, too, that I don't recognize as well, but either way, what's the show about? Do you remember what the show's about?
I remember it being a comic book thing. I think that a bunch of different people were after.
Right. Oh, man.
It was just high dollar. Someone had passed away.
Right.
And this is what people were waiting on or something.
Yeah. So, wow. It's about, there's these people find this manuscript, a comic book manuscript. It's the sequel to a cult classic comic book. And our main characters think that the comic book actually was predicting potential pandemics or diseases, and they want to get the sequel so they can see, like,
what's next.
What's next? Yes, what's coming down the line. So that's the general idea there. And it seems like they may be, I don't know, a little out there, a little crazy or something. But then you find some things happen in the show. And you're like, wait a minute, maybe they're not crazy. Maybe there is something going on. So, our main characters, it's pretty much their meeting, and they've never seen each other because they're on the internet. Then they meet for the first time, and they have this common thing that they think is real. And then they're at a nerd convention, which looks like the smallest fucking convention ever, by the way, if you've ever been to one. It looks like a local convention. But there's also some characters who have nefarious plans for everything. And then there's a backdrop of, whoa, this is turning into an actual for real conspiracy thing. There's a lot of interesting shit going on in this show, I would say. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure.
I think the last half of that episode was pretty damn intriguing. Especially when you see some of the fucked up stuff that happened toward the end of the first episode.
Loved it.
It's crazy. It's crazy enough that I'm just like, what is about to happen in this next episode? So, I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. No Rainn Wilson in the episode, though.
Ready
so clearly he shows
ready
up.
to see him show up.
Yeah. John Cusack is in it also.
Oh,
Again, doesn't show up, the first episode, I know just enough about all the characters to be interested in what they're doing. And the mystery of it is pretty significant. And they did a hell of a, definitely come back and watch this show thing at the end, right? With the last character reveal. And it's just very interesting. So I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. And I'm interested in watching more of that. Same for you?
Same.
Yeah. All right.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. 2. Wow. 2. I can't actually move my hands because Fabricans don't have working hands. Okay. So the last show we checked out was, and it's a buzzworthy, zeitgeisty show, so of course we had to check it out, was Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country. Woo. Woo. Can I do it again? Ooh. Let me just tell you. Ooh. No, for real. First of all, I'm just going to say it's a show that's definitely not fucking around. Is that a fair thing to say?
Oh, yeah.
It is not playing with you at all. And it's an interesting year. This is a funny thing. This year has been, as far as like shit regarding, our society and how we treat people and race and all that other stuff. This has been a hell of a year, right? And it's funny because Lovecraft Country had to have been done like earlier this year, like before the pandemic. They had to have been finished, and it's weird that it comes out this year and it has so much to say about so much that's going on in America right now. It's crazy. So, that being said, it's also definitely a sci-fi fantasy horror show. It's got high production values because it's from HBO.
Featuring ODB.
Yeah, no. I don't even know who's supposed to be the older bastard. But Jonathan Majors is the main character in Lovecraft Country. And you have Journey Smollett. You have Courtney B. Vance. And if you don't know these people's names, shame on you, I guess. They've been in things. You should know Courtney B. Vance if you ever watch Law and Order. Journey Smollett, she was just in Birds of Prey as Black Canary. Jonathan Majors, he was in The Five Bloods, but he's been in other things, and he's actually been rumored to be in Ant-Man 2. Or 3, excuse me. Possibly as Kang the Conqueror. So these are all some up-and-coming or established actors. But that's not really as relevant. I guess it is relevant, but just understand, this show is not fucking around with you, right? It's not playing.
I'm intrigued, and I can't wait to watch more of it. I think that we had 3 very good first episodes.
Yeah, well, let's just say, what's Lovecraft Country about? Like, what was it about to you?
I still don't know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm ready to watch more.
Yeah,
there wasn't really. I mean, it was like an introduction, but that was all it was right. An introduction. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, what do we know definitely from it? That they're going to be talking about race. It's 3 black people traveling the countryside in the mid 50s and running across a lot of racism and oppression. Towns. Yeah, was that fucking terrifying or what?
Yeah, I bet you cops mess with people. Are we giving away stuff right now?
Well, we're not going to spoil it too much. The point.
Yeah, I would watch it. It kind of makes you sad that our society was like that, and in some ways is still like that. Right.
There's this whole bit about not being allowed to be in a place at the same time, or not being allowed to be in a fucking restaurant, and having people literally wanting to kill you for just being black in the wrong place. It's crazy, but not true. Like, the funniest thing about this show is that the fucking monsters, the supernatural shit, aren't the least real. They're terrifying, but in their way. But the rest of it is that's terrifying. But you're like, okay, there aren't really monsters, right? But there is really racism, and there is really terrifying shit surrounding racism, and it's fucking crazy. When the monsters show up, you're just like, wow, this is only slightly more scary than the other shit that happened in this episode. So it's very interesting stuff. I think that it did a great job establishing character, establishing the mood of the show, and kind of pointing you to where it was going to go. It's intriguing. It's very interesting. I want to know more about it.
Beering.
Yeah. What? What? So, all right. Yeah, so we saw 3 very interesting, very good shows. And so I guess we have to say... I
need to put the brakes on first episodes, then I'll watch these shows.
Well, I would agree, but here's my thing. We've got to do this because, nerds, we can't just leave it as, oh, they were all good. That's not good enough. We have got to rank the 3 pilot episodes and make a decision. What show are we going to watch? This is going to be hard. What would you say, in your opinion, what was the best
Twilight
first
Zone,
episode?
The Witch one, and then...
Utopia.
Yeah.
So Twilight Zone, this is number 1. Number 1, Twilight Zone. Number 1, Lovecraft Country. And number 2, Lovecraft Country. Number 3 would be Utopia.
My opinion, yes.
Okay. Ooh, I'm going to say Lovecraft Country, Utopia, Twilight Zone.
Awesome.
Alright, so we're going to do round 2. So, Utopia was my number 2, and it was your number 2, right? Or Lovecraft Country was your number 2. And Lovecraft Country was your number 2, and Utopia was my number 2. Lovecraft Country was my number 1, and Twilight Zone was your number 1. So what's the common thing in all of that? Was Lovecraft Country.
I keep wanting to say Witchcraft.
Yeah,
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah. So Lovecraft Country seems to be the winner, I would say. Would you say Lovecraft Country?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
I figured it might be that just because of the high production values in this HBO, but I wanted to check. So I would say Lovecraft Country, then followed by Twilight Zone, then followed by Utopia. Or we can just watch them all concurrently because what do we always say? I do what I want.
Do what I want. I think we should.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think we can watch 2 a week.
Right. Well, I think...
like 2 days a week. On Mondays, we'll watch 3 episodes, and on Thursdays, we'll watch 3 episodes.
Sounds good. We'll be done, because Lovecraft Country is only 8 episodes. Utopia's not Utopia, but I think Twilight Zone is 10. It's 20 episodes.
Lovecraft in a week, then, I bet.
Yeah. Twilight Zone is 20 episodes, because it has 2 seasons. So, sounds like a plan. Well, anyway, what did you guys think about, if you have seen these shows, what did you think? Maybe you want to take the pilot season challenge and challenge yourself to find something new. Maybe we missed a show not out of those 3, but we didn't have a show that you liked. Why don't you tell us about it down in the comments? And we'll do another pilot season soon, I'm sure. All right. With that, we have completed pilot season for this week, and we're moving on to the next segment.
Segments.
Next segment. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, so we're back with the third and final segment of the Super Not Funny Show, and that is
Weekly
Distractions.
Distractions?
Distractions. I hope it's not weekly distractions. Well, besides our reputations, am I right?
I was thinking along the lines. It sounds like a week in the life of Trump.
Ooh. Political. Okay.
Well, I do declare.
But anyway, since we started it off like that, weekly distractions is where we just talk about the shit that keeps us distracted from the world.
Well, Mo, I'm still on my Roseanne kick. I'm in season 5 now.
Roseanne? Oh, hell yeah. That's 5 out of 10, though. Yeah. Actually, it's 5 out of 9. The 10th season.
There.
Yeah, the 10th season actually is the new one. But so, how's that going for you?
Loving it still.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets real. It gets so real and deep.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that is what she said. But honestly, it talks about everything. There is no filter. I will say this: it hasn't covered racism, but it was the early '90s.
Yeah, you'd have to sort of have black people in the show besides just like a rando.
Yeah, they have like the Friends, but I will say this: I didn't recognize the Friends, but they are having the same black couple throughout the whole season, right. So they have kept the same character.
Right. I'm being facetious. Obviously, you can't talk about race without a minority being there. It just seemed a little more reasonable to maybe have a few in there. But it was the '90s, and we're always evolving and changing. So, but it's still working for you, right? There's a lot of stuff happening in that show that's pretty relevant to the real world. So that's cool. And I've been sort of over your shoulder watching it too. So it's good stuff. Sounds good. All right, so that's your weekly distraction. You didn't do anything else this week?
I did nothing else this week.
Nothing else, just it's all about the Connors, eh?
I just want to get through it all.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. You guys don't know, but Jen is the resident binger in this house. I do it, but it's not. It takes me forever. So
I'll watch a whole 10 seasons in 2 days
if you don't want to. Yeah, if somehow you could bend space and time to make it possible for you to watch 10 seasons of something in 2 days. It's not possible. It's possible, but not. But it is, but not. So, yeah. All right, well, so you're watching Roseanne. We also caught The Mandalorian this week. We've caught up on it. It's 3 episodes in, and we actually watched the latest episode. How are you liking The Mandalorian? How's Mando doing for you?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's. You still like Baby Yoda?
I love
him. Yeah, he's a murderous little bastard, isn't he? Or people are like, oh well, he's not technically. I'm like, oh well, yes. Well, let's just say. Yes, he's not technically, but still pretty fucked up, yo. Just saying. I understand he's a baby, but still. Yeah, if you know the show, you know what I'm talking about. He's a little less cute to me now. He's still a cutie, though. Everyone likes him. Even when he's snacking on things he ought not to be snacking on. Just saying. But yeah, actually the first 2 episodes I thought were cool. They weren't awesome. There were some awesome parts, but they weren't awesome in the totality. But episode 3 was great all around to me. Had a character show up that everyone wanted to see. Also had some interesting action. Had a story element come back from a previous season, and also I found out. Reason why I liked it, not the reason, but it shows me that I'm going to like stuff by this director. But Bryce Dallas Howard was the director of this episode, and she did a great job. So, really happy with the show so far. This latest episode really picked it up for me. So I'm looking forward to the next one. Yeah. Another thing that I've been watching is Star Trek Enterprise. That's how I've been distracting myself. I watched a few episodes of that this week. All I can say about it is they were fine episodes. Enterprise is very much not too much like the other Star Treks. I mean, it is, but it isn't. And I enjoyed them. I didn't think they were great, and I'll keep on watching that. I also watched an episode of Star Wars Rebels, mainly because of a character that showed up in Mandalorian, and I just was like, let me get back into Rebels. I watched another episode of that. It was pretty fun, actually. And in addition, I finally finished Mark Bernard and Mark, actually, I forget the other guy's name. Anyway, Mark Bernard, he co-wrote, co-created. Really? Wow. He co-created a comic called Genius about the greatest military mind that grew up in South Central Los Angeles. And in the second volume, she goes on to be in a secret government institute to learn how to be more badass. So finally finished reading that. I'm going to review that for the show, and you guys can check it out later. So beyond that, hey, you remember we watched on Sunday, was it Sunday or Saturday night, Chappelle on Saturday Night Live? What did you think of that?
It was, Dave Chappelle's always killing it, always spitting the truth.
Truth.
He did a lot of truth spitting.
It was pretty hard. What? Am I wrong? He went pretty hard.
He went hard.
He went.
I think he's at a point in life where he's like, I'm self-made at this point, and I will say what I want.
Yeah. You know how people's like, well, I have no fucks left to give. Dave was like that like 15 years ago. All his fucks are gone, and he's just saying whatever. He had some good, funny jokes, great jokes, some good, funny insight. It was I was like, whoa, he is going hard at a bunch of people right now. So yeah, if you didn't catch it, you should check out his monologue on SNL. It was pretty damn good. I'm looking forward to his next special, actually. So, greatest of all time, am I right?
Hey,
fight me on that. Fight me.
You and I may not agree on some things, but Dave Chappelle.
Well, I didn't mean you. I'm talking about the audience. Fight me. You come for me. Come for me, son. Jay Chappelle, greatest stand-up of all time. I want to hear your comments down below. So, that's how we're distracting ourselves this week. Next week, oh my gosh. Probably Lovecraft Country. I think Lovecraft Country is definitely in
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, in Twilight Zone. So we're gonna distract ourselves that way. So that's how we're distracting ourselves. How are you guys distracting yourself? Let us know down in the comments.
It's the end of the show.
As we know it.
It's the end.
I feel fly.
And I feel hungry.
Heard that. All right. So. Thanks for joining us this week on the Super Not Funny Show. As always, hit that subscribe button if you really like what we're doing here. And if you like this video, follow us on Twitter. We're Super Not Funny Show. It's very easy to figure out. Hit that like button down there if you like this particular episode. I guess you could hit the dislike if you want to be a dick, but okay. Let us know. Let us know what you think about the show. You can also email us at supernotfunnyshow, the supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com. Let us know if there's anything you want us to cover, what you think about the show, all of that stuff. Maybe just tell us to go to hell. I don't know.
Wow.
Who knows?
Wow.
So, anyway, we will be back next week. Same time, same place. Talking about the same shit you all like. All the pop culture, all the comics, movies, video games, TV shows, whatever it is that you like, that we want to talk about. Well, I've been Mo Thepuppet. I've been joined by the lovely Jen Thepuppet. You got anything last words before we roll out?
Well, why don't you put me on the spot?
Okay, that's the show, guys. Oh, wait, okay. Oh, never mind. What you were saying?
I just hope everyone has a great week.
Yeah.
And I would love recommendations for some movie distractions.
Amen. So, thank you, Jen. As always, this has been the Super Not Funny Show, and I say to all you Fabricans, all you Fleshbags out there,
so long, farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, good night. Oh, y'all too young to know what that is. Okay. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Night. Goose, what are you doing?
Yeah. The cats over there playing with a wadded up piece of paper. Got all these toys, and she's gonna mess with those.
It's like kids.
Actually, she's actually over there tearing it up. Goose, hey, thank you, appreciate it. Making all that damn noise.
Making all that god dang noise.
Tell them.